Her sister, Jessica's sister, who's played by Lena Dunham in the show, has been confined to bed because she's so depressed because her husband left her so he could be in a polyamorous relationship with a male and a female, both whom are named Corey. It's like those kind of storylines we're kind of supposed to laugh at because it's just so outrageous and so funny. But then we pan back to Jessica and she's in the bathroom in a public stall making a video to her ex's new lover. I mean, that's not any less weird. But we're not supposed to laugh at Jessica. Oh, you guys. Okay, so 2 weeks ago we talked about Lena Dunham. And I brought her up because I was like, why am I seeing Lena Dunham around everywhere? I don't know why I didn't put two and two together. I guess it's because I kept seeing clips of her talking in interviews, but I never saw the part of the clip where she was talking about why we were talking to her, because she's had a hiatus for quite some time. So I was like, I don't know what happened to her. Is she just showing back up on the scene to let us know that she lives in England now? She fled our country, so she go hang out in England for a minute. And while she was there, she met this guy. And she met him, and she's like, you know what? Since I only know how to write about myself and make, semi-autobiographical shows about myself, let's make a new one, right? Because of course she had written Girls a long while ago, and it was on HBO, and it was to somewhat rave reviews. A lot of people really loved Girls. But anyway, I mean, it was one of those shows where you sort of watched and enjoyed the characters' deliciously awful lives because they were making poor decisions. And I think it was sort of similar to the CEO moment where we just love to watch people have problems because they make dumb choices. And we're like, yes, this is the way the world ought to work. We want to see the consequences to your poor decisions. So Girls kind of fed that desire to see dumb people doing dumb things get the right consequences. And that show was sort of, I think, clever in the sense that it was at the same time talking about the millennial. It was making fun of the millennial, but also almost excusing the millennial. It was a very confusing show in a lot of sense as far as what is Lena trying to say? Does she seemed to be very aware of the millennial problems, but she didn't, and she made some smart commentary on it, but at the same time, none of the characters seemed to want to be redeemed from those problems. They just wanted to be aware of them and know that about them, but then they thought that sort of gave them an interesting identity to be riddled with so many problems. It was like, I love that I'm such a mess type of behavior. Okay, so she finishes Girls, she goes on hiatus, she spends some time of everybody hating her. So she's driven from our shores, she decides she's going to go to England, and, maybe they don't know that she was fooling around with her sister. So she goes over there, she meets a guy, they decide to start dating and write a show together. And the product of those 4.5 years of work is this new show called Too Much on Netflix. An aptly named show if ever there was one. Now, you guys, if you don't want to know what happens in this show, or you don't want me to talk too much about it, and you're still planning on watching it or whatever, you're going to want to fast forward this, because I may or may not say some things you didn't want to know. There's not really much to spoil. I mean, it is what this show is it's a rom-com that has been extended to 10 episodes. So it's like, you know how now that we've had so many really good in-depth shows, movies almost don't cut it for us. We watch a movie and you're like, man, that was good, but it felt short. I feel like there's a lot of storylines that I needed to really help me understand where these characters are coming from. So it's like that point of view was finally applied to a movie. So they've taken the rom-com idea and extended it out. So you're getting a show, but you're also getting the roller coaster of the original rom-com storyline, right? Okay. So in this show, we've got this character, Jessica. And she is going to England because she is this workaholic from New York, but she's made a lot of poor decisions with this one guy that she was dating. And I wouldn't say cheated on her, but they definitely fell out of love with each other in a really dramatic way. And everywhere she looks, she sees him because they dated for 7 years. So she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And so her boss is like, hey, well, we have this post that we needed to send somebody to in England. We'd love, you can go and fill it and then you can get out of here. She's like, okay, well. So she goes over to England and she has all of the dumb, Pride and Prejudice. She seems to think that she's going to be go to England, but they haven't been doing anything new since, 1820. She thinks she's going to be living in some sort of pastoral England where she's going to meet her Mr. Darcy or something. All right. Well, I mean, obviously, that's already a storyline that, is going to, disappoint her. But it's I don't know. I mean, this is a character that's supposed to be very savvy. All right. She works in media and with all these celebrities, but she doesn't know that when she goes to England, it's probably not going to be like it was in that PBS movie she watched. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Okay, so she goes, and I mean, I'm telling you, this character is whiny AF. Everything is also always about her. She's super cringy. She's super awkward, but not in a charming way. Not in a charming way. This is a person who, at one point, somebody says that she has like Tourette's-like energy. And they're like, I'm not trying to offend you. And you're like, yeah, maybe that's the problem. Like, she's just always popping off, saying crazy things. And I'm just like, there is no way you would have climbed to the echelon that you have. You workaholic, you, with your mouth that just doesn't know how to behave in any scenario. Okay, so keep that in mind, because I'm going to give you a specific example in a minute of what I'm talking about, and how I just do not believe that this person who is this quote unquote workaholic could be such an absolute mess but have this really great job. I mean, you're just like, I cannot suspend my disbelief any longer on this. But she goes, and like the first night she's there, she decides she's going to go out to this bar, and there's this guy singing there at the bar. And at first you're like, I don't know, is he like some kind of queer? Because he's wearing like lipstick and eyeshadow and his nails are painted and his hair's, it's not long or anything, but it's just sort of like, you're just like not really sure like what he's trying to put forward. So the fact that she believes him to be a heterosexual choice is unbelievable to me. But anyway, they meet because they're both in the bathroom and he didn't have any toilet paper. And so she like gives him some. Okay, how unorthodox. And this is another thing that I think is really, really crazy about the show. This girl, by the way, has no problem getting boyfriends or getting male attention. And I would not say that she is stereotypically hot. We're having love scenes happening in bathrooms because the guy in the stall next to you needed toilet paper. Or later on in the show, her previous boyfriend walks up to her and saves her in a pizza debacle in which she didn't get her slice. And I'm like, nobody's doing that. Nobody is being charming with each other anymore. You're lucky to get a date on an app with a decent individual. Nobody knows how to interact with each other anymore. This is not the 1980s in which people put themselves out there to meet other people. Everyone's hiding behind their phones, and if they do talk to you, it's like, I'll be really cute on text message, but then when I meet you, it's going to be so awkward that you would rather bleed out. I'm already really annoyed with the show because it's trying to be really incisive about modern life, and yet it can't get the basics correct. Okay, you're not meeting anybody in bars looking for toilet paper, and nobody's helping you with your missing slice of pizza. Okay, that's not happening. Regardless, the guy with the lipstick and she decide that they're going to be friends, and he walks her home, and that's the way the love story is launched. And this clinger never leaves her side. I was very annoyed by this guy, by the way. A lot of reviews I've listened to, they love the guy. They think he was a redeeming factor on the show. And I think in a lot of ways he is, because he's a counterpoint to Jessica's unbelievable selfishness. And quite frankly, he is the only one who has any common sense. So for that, we love Felix. That's his name. But Felix is, they say full of red flags. And in the description of the show, they say Felix has all these red flags. Jessica walks into this relationship. She should have known better. But it's like, no, Felix should have known better. Okay? Because let me tell you what Jessica's doing in her spare time. Jessica is super, super angry that her ex decided to go with this super cute little influencer on Instagram. He met her, they lived in the same neighborhood, and those two like really connected. Jessica is super angry about that. And I mean, I would be too. I'm not saying that she should have just waltzed into life and like not ever been offended that he dropped her ass and then picked up this super little hot Instagram chick. Like, I get the annoyance. But she then decides in the weirdest, quirkiest, most unrelatable thing I've ever seen. And this is a person who just like must live and breathe with their phone, because the way she chooses to deal with this is to create a private social media account in which she makes short videos of her reacting to the content on her ex's new girlfriend's profile. So the new girlfriend will post something, and then Jessica will make a video in which she's ripping Wendy apart, being like, well, you see, Wendy, the reason, da-da-da. And she just has a whole diary talking to Wendy about how annoyed she is about what Wendy does, how annoyed she is about the ex, how Wendy doesn't understand anything. And like, so she's got like 500 videos because she posts something every day. Like, she will excuse herself from scenarios like, oh, I'm at dinner with friends, but I need to go make a video to Wendy. I mean, that is unrelatable behavior. How many of you have a private social media diary in which you are scathingly going after your ex's new girlfriend and would excuse yourself from life to do it? I mean, she'll do it in like public bathroom stalls. She's over there like, excuse me, new boyfriend, I gotta go to the bathroom. But then she's like making videos in there and like people can hear her. I'm just like, is that typical behavior? Like, I don't know. I'm not a New Yorker. Is that what people in New York are doing who decide to go to London? I don't know. I think what's also disturbing is that this whole show is loosely autobiographical about Lena Dunham's experience in London because, of course, she couldn't make any kind of content, make any kind of show, nothing that has to do with anybody other than herself. So she obviously has to work out all of her problems by making shows and writing really weird memoirs. And so maybe for her, maybe the way she does deal with things is to make videos. I mean, in some context, I can almost believe it. Anyway, the Jessica character is just very annoying because that's the kind of stuff she's up to. And then she'll just do things that are like just wild, crazy, like how in the world have you been allowed in polite society, Jessica? Because she gets invited to her boss's house for a dinner party. Now, unbeknownst to her, the boss and his wife are definitely cokeheads. But she doesn't know that. So she has no reason to believe that the wild behavior she's going to exhibit at the dinner table would be an acceptable way to act in front of these people. Like, as far as she knows, this is going to be a classy situation. She sits down at the dinner table, okay? After telling Felix we need to act like we have some decency because she brings Felix as her date. She gives him this big pep talk. You know, we got to act right around these people, okay? We got to act right. And then she proceeds to tell her hostess at the dinner table about her UTI, how, you know, she's got a lot of female problems down there, probably because she's sleeping so much with Felix. She goes on to discuss some strange different positions. It's like, I'm going to need you to not act to me like this is normal dinner conversation. The whole time you're waiting for the hostess to be like, okay, that's enough. Okay, wait. Can we change the subject? But no, she leans into it to such an extent that at one point, I think the hostess is going to try to have a sexual thing with Jessica because she's so into what Jessica's talking about and so like wanting to be like her answer and being like, let's go to the bathroom together. And the whole reason is because she wants to snort coke. But at no point are you expecting that to be the outcome because you and I are normal. And this show is flush with abnormality to the highest level. There is not one normal person who crosses the screen. And I mean not one. Not one person. Everybody is literally too much in this show. And, you know, a person can be like, well, it's satire. I don't know if it is. Some of the side characters, like her mom, who, interestingly, is played by Rita Wilson. Wasn't I just saying, what has Rita Wilson ever been in? Well, Rita Wilson is in this show, playing her bohemian, wild mom who, like, lets anything go. And a bunch of the side characters in the show are really wild, and I think you're supposed to kind of get a chuckle out of them. But the thing is, they're not actually any weirder than Jessica is or Felix is. So it's like, why am I supposed to laugh at them and think that they're like this funny little commentary on the modern American existence? But I'm not supposed to laugh at Jessica, who is, if anything, weirder than anybody in her family. Like, this is some of the stuff that's going on in her family. When the show opens, Jessica is living at home with her grandmother, her mother, her sister, and her sister's kid. All of these women have lost their husbands, and Jessica is obviously not dating her ex anymore, so she's also in this big female mix-up. The way they just like openly talk, and like they all talk about sex all the time, all these women, but not in a typical like the way you can talk about that with your mom. The way these women choose to discuss sex is so wild to me. And it's not because I'm, you know, a pearl clutcher or we can't talk about sex. Please. Of course we can. But the way they're raunchy, nasty, like pornographic about it. And I'm just like, the vibe is not ringing true to me here. And I just feel like, Lena Dunham, maybe in your house where you were diddling your little sister, this kind of behavior was on par with reality. But for the rest of the audiences, like, have you talked to anybody else in your life since leaving your family? Do you know that's not normal? You know, and like just the way that it's just so like gritty and nasty. Meanwhile, you know, her sister, Jessica's sister, who's played by Lena Dunham in the show, has been confined to bed because she's so depressed because her husband left her so he could be in a polyamorous relationship with a male and a female, both whom are named Corey. It's like those kind of storylines we're kind of supposed to laugh at because it's just so outrageous and so funny. But then we pan back to Jessica and she's in the bathroom in a public stall making a video to her ex's new lover. I mean, that's not any less weird. But we're not supposed to laugh at Jessica, right? And so, like, the whole show goes on and on, 10 episodes long, and you're just like, what in the world? There's tons of nasty sex, because we really have to, shatter glass ceilings and have lots of sex scenes with bigger girls, so we're like getting in a lot of nasty sex. And a lot of extended scenes that I just think, where was the editor? Were you guys like, we got to clock this episode in at 45 minutes, so let's make Jessica sing for a really long time, even though she can't sing. I mean, it was just egregious. I mean, I call my brother. My brother watches everything. He knows all the things. I got to have him on the show, honestly. He's so funny and brilliant and wonderful. And I called him and I was like, brother, have you seen this new show of Lena Dunham? And he's like, no, but I will. And I was like, when you finish, I need you to set aside 4 hours because we need to discuss. All of these characters are so over the top. I just don't know who this show was supposed to be for. I have no idea. And, I really want to tell you some other things that happened, but if you are going to watch the show, I don't want to wreck it for you. I'm just letting you know right now. If you watch this show, I'm going to need you to comment below. I've got to talk to some people about this, and nobody I know has seen this show. And I just need to, like, am I the crazy one? Because this show was insane. Every single character was the weirdest person you could ever have hoped to meet. But in this show, they're all like that. In life, you might meet like one person that's this wild and be like, wow, that was a moment to remember. In this show, the moment to remember would be the one normal person you know. Somebody who's like faithful to their spouse, takes care of their kids, is working hard to put them in a private school, bringing their lunch to work, And after watching this show, you're just like, I am so glad my life is mundane and normal. Because if my life was this wild, crazy, I don't know, like I'm in a relationship, we say we're committed, but both of us are kind of like goofing off with other people on the side, Jessica and Felix. It's like, nobody has any moral boundaries in this show. Nobody has any like hardcore, like this, you can't cross this boundary. Everyone's kind of like loosey-goosey, like, I don't know. Well, I wanted to do it and it made me feel good. Oh, okay. Well, if it made you feel good, I guess I have to be okay with it. It's like, this is a world you don't want to live in. If this is the trajectory of the world, if Lena Dunham has just like shown us what it is to be alive in this world in a environment where there's no moral boundaries and you really don't get to be mad about anything that happens because that's just life and they just wanted to and it made them happy, so you had to say yes. Like, I don't want any part of this. And I also don't feel like I'm so naive that I've like never been anywhere or done nothing, and so like the whole world's living like this but I don't know it. I mean, this is objectively the craziest show I've ever seen, in that it's trying to make me believe that this is life, that this is relatable, that this is like a searing description of what it is to be, a millennial in her 30s. I'm a millennial in my 30s. I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Okay, I've talked long enough about that show. I'm sorry I went on so long. But please watch it. We need to discuss. I'm serious. We've got to talk about it. Honestly, I feel like if I had Facebook, I'd open a Facebook group so that like we could all hold each other and be like, what did we just witness?